Am I the a-hole for leaving the family business after my dad gave it to my brother? I'm a 27-year-old plumber, and for the last 12 years, I've worked side by side with my dad, building our family business. When I started at 15 years old, it was just me and him. While my older brother went off to university and later worked in the city as an accountant, I stayed. I learned the trade, earned my qualifications, and devoted nearly my entire life to helping the company grow. Over the years, the business exploded in size. What started as a small operation became a company with 50 vans on the road, each staffed by experienced workers and trainees. For the last 2 years, I'd essentially been running the company day to day while my dad battled serious health issues. Even then, every Friday we still worked together. Those were my favorite days. Half a day on the tools, then back to my place for a few drinks and a chat. I genuinely believed one day the business would be mine to continue. Then, everything changed. Around the time COVID started, my brother moved back from the city and joined the company. He worked in accounting. He had never worked in the trade, never helped build the company, never showed much interest in it before. Then one day, my dad gathered the family and announced he was stepping down due to his health. I expected he would split ownership between my brother and me. Instead, he gave the entire business to my brother. Not only that, but I was removed from my leadership role, demoted back to a heating engineer, and handed a pay cut of roughly £20,000 a year. I was stunned. I had spent 12 years helping build the company. I'd sacrificed weekends, nights, holidays, and most of my teenage years. And now someone who had barely been there was suddenly my boss. I sat down with my dad and asked him why. His answer hurt more than anything. He told me my brother deserved it because he had gone to university. He had a family. And apparently he had done more. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The workers couldn't either. Several employees told me outright that if I left, they would leave too. I told my father that if this was how little he valued me, then I was done. I would start my own company. After that, I cut contact. For weeks, I received messages and phone calls from relatives telling me I was ungrateful. Some of the things they said were incredibly hurtful. But the hardest part wasn't the insults. It was realizing that my own father didn't seem to appreciate everything I'd sacrificed. Growing up, he constantly praised my brother for going to university and working in the city. But he never spoke about what I'd accomplished. He never talked about the years I spent helping build the business. Looking back, I realized my brother had always been the golden child. When I was 15 years old, my dad couldn't afford to pay me much. I earned about £20 a week. I worked 7 days a week, often from 6 in the morning until 8 at night. While my friends were out enjoying their teenage years, I was helping build our future. And somehow that still wasn't enough. After reading everyone's responses, I started making plans. I had savings, I had industry contacts, and I had clients who trusted me. Several employees wanted to come work with me. I figured if I was going to work this hard, I might as well do it for myself. Update. The next morning, I decided to meet with my father for breakfast. I wasn't interested in a fight. I just wanted answers. When I arrived at my parents' house, my mother looked like she had been crying. My dad and I drove to breakfast in complete silence. On the way home, he finally pulled over and broke down crying. It was the first time I'd ever seen him cry. I asked him why he did it, why he gave everything to my brother. At first, he struggled to answer. Then he finally admitted the truth. He said he felt guilty. He believed he hadn't been there enough for my brother growing up because he was always working. So giving him the company was his way of making up for it. I sat there in disbelief. 12 years of work, 12 years of sacrifice. And that was the reason. I told him how deeply he had hurt me, how it felt like he had thrown me aside the moment my brother came back. My dad admitted he had read the online comments. Apparently, my family had found the post. He told me he now realized he should have split the company between both of us. He apologized for never telling me how proud he was. He said he assumed I already knew. But there was a problem. The company was already signed over. My brother had full control. And according to my dad, my brother would never agree to share ownership. Then my father asked me to return. He said my brother needed me. I told him that wasn't my problem anymore. My brother had demoted me, cut my salary, ignored my experience, and treated me like I knew nothing. Why would I go back? My father broke down again. He said he had destroyed the family. And honestly, for the first time, it seemed like he finally understood what he had done. Update. That same day, I started having meetings with clients. The meetings went incredibly well. Several major projects were heading my way. 3 employees officially left the company and chose to join me. These were experienced people with years in the industry. Hearing that they believed in me meant everything. I already owned 3 vans and had accumulated tools over the years. For the first time, my future felt exciting. Later that evening, my father invited me to dinner. I hoped it might be another step toward repairing our relationship. Instead, it became one of the worst conversations yet. The entire family was there. The atmosphere was awful. My mother barely looked at me. My brother acted like I didn't exist. Then my dad called us into his office and asked when I was coming back to work. I couldn't believe it. After everything we discussed that morning, he still expected me to return. My brother became angry when I said no. He asked how I could leave if I cared about the company. That was the final straw. I reminded him that I had spent 12 years helping build the business while he was somewhere else. Now he wanted all the benefits without earning them. I told him exactly how I felt. Then I left. Update. A couple of weeks later, my new company was thriving. Work was pouring in. The future looked brighter than it had in years. By the end of the year, I was already thinking about expanding. My personal life was also going well. My fiancée was busy planning our wedding. She had been my rock through all of this. Every day she reminded me that my worth wasn't defined by what my father thought of me. We started talking about our future together, about marriage, about having children. For the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely happy. As for my family, things remained strained. My father and brother still refused to speak to me. They even announced they wouldn't be attending my wedding, which was strange considering they hadn't been invited. My mother occasionally called my fiancé, but she rarely spoke to me directly. Meanwhile, my future in-laws stepped up in every possible way. They welcomed me with open arms and supported us throughout the entire ordeal. Many of the relatives who had attacked me in the beginning eventually apologized. They wanted to make amends. And honestly, that meant a lot. At this point, I'm focused on my future. My business is growing. I'm marrying the woman I love, and we're planning to start a family together. Life isn't perfect, but for the first time, it feels like I'm building something that's truly mine. So tell me, am I the a-hole?